Friday afternoon as we head towards the weekend here. We got market trying to hold, at least heading into the weekend. We are hanging on to some key support levels here. I was just noting yields back to the downside here late in the day after a bit of a bounce coming off of an absolutely terrible week. If you are looking for them to move higher, obviously the market is not. 30-year back to 4.03 right now. The 10-year back to 3.94. First time we've seen a 3 handle on the 10-year since back in August, back in the summertime. We are going to connect with Frank Caberna this afternoon, get his take on what happened this week, because, man, we got a lot of data once again this week. So we'll check in with him, get a little bit of a look at what this means going forward as far as inflation is concerned, as far as what the Fed will do going forward and when we'll start to see some of these cuts. Here's DocuSign. Yeah, a bit of a pullback right now off that 64 level, but volume kind of tapering off. Tough to chase up here after such a huge move. But if you missed it, some buyout rumors, or they're exploring a sale headline floating around there for DocuSign. This one I noticed having a pretty good day as well. Costco up on their earnings. We didn't really touch on it early on. $655 stock, so not really a day trading type of name, but on a bit of a pullback here, back to 655 where it kind of topped out early on this morning, but still a better part of 4%. There it is, Costco still very green. Among the retailers today. Amazon having a nice day as well, 1.16. Broadcom, what a week it's been for Broadcom. What a week it's been, really. For chip makers across the board, 1.4 for NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, and Boeing. Down there at the bottom, 2.7%, pretty good month for BA. Oracle, 3% as well. The rest of the mag, 7, if you will, not really doing a heck of a lot. Apple included, 0.3 downside currently. For Apple, if you missed it over the lunch break, Goolsby comes out and says the Fed may need to shift their focus to job creation, essentially, instead of inflation, as it continues to be a little bit sticky on the way back down. Whether or not they're going to be able to get it to 2% even was Goolsby's point there, and maybe they can offset that with more jobs. Anyway, let's jump into a few things we were discussing. If you're with us in the pre-market this morning, make sure you join us every single day. We get you set for the open at 8:30 in the morning. Intel was top of the list this morning. My chart is not updating. Intel back downside right now, still up on the day, coming off that event from yesterday. Hold on, I will move it. Nope, that's not working either. Coming off that event yesterday, we got a bunch of new AI-related chips, guys, for Intel.
Gaudi was the name of the new AI chip for them, and Brief, love that word. Intel still moving. You know what? I'm going to start with, let me get to Meta in a second, because you got to talk about what's going to happen next. At least you should talk about what's going to happen next. I just got in to Meta in front of 334 like seconds ago. Obviously, and just quickly, briefly, Meta pre-market breakout high was about 334.20. It then supported that level on the way back to the downside. So I was looking fade into that previous level. So if it takes out the quarter, we're going to get out of, well, I'm going to get out of Dodge there. But I feel like that's going to happen almost imminently. It's a bit of a bounce happening from the morning lows. And if Meta takes out the quarter, I'm out. I might go back into it at the 335 level, but that's going to be a different trade for me on Meta. So back over to Intel. I went for the breakout on Intel. It was pretty, it took out the pre-market high. It didn't give me the dip where I wanted the support level in Intel. So when I couldn't get 55.35 and missed out on 45.50, just took the clean break of the high, the pre-market high. It was a nice move. It turned around at about 46.80. I held on to the last 10% and did not make a bounce back through 46 quarters. So it was a breakout trade for me. I think this stock is still working in a trend to the upside. I might start establishing some new levels on it, but at least for the time being, I'd say 45 is the big support. It's just a matter of it not getting there or anywhere close enough to it today on a dip buy. And if it does breach 45 in the near term, I will look for it to try to hold the previous channel. It's been an absolute rocket ship. Happy with this one in the long term. I've trimmed some already. I'm seriously considering if it gets to 50, in the new year, probably worth taking a little bit out if this thing sees a $50 level. It's going to be running into some like really big levels that got faded in the last couple of years. 50, 52 are some big ones when you go back out on that daily chart, but until it gets there, all systems go for them.
All right. Yeah, so Intel, again, we'll be positive on that name today. I mean, obviously, it was a big trade early. It was the #1 trade off the open for me. We shorted it. We got $1. It was great. We gave some back trying to short ahead at 47, but that one didn't work out. We just talking about Uber into the close here. I just took my first trade right now off VWAP, and you know we're instantly 20 cents in the money right now. So hopefully this will work into the close. But I'm going to take something out here at 63 and ring the register for 25 cents here on Uber. But here it goes, right back up. Hopefully we can get that fill, and then we'll see about a much higher trade here for Uber. But Intel, man, let's go. Awesome. All about that. There we go again right now as we're just stacking right now into the close. So, hey man, it should be a good one. It's power hour at 3. We have a big imbalance coming with the rebalance. That should be fun. So excited. We also have Frank Caberna coming on in 40 minutes. So making up for yesterday, coming back today. So I'm excited to hear what he has to say in about 40 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing in his. He has this specific room where he jumps on with us. They have a little bit of a studio set up. I don't know what they were doing in there, but he was not allowed to go in that room yesterday. So he was basically in a hallway when he tried to jump on with us. So apparently he's back in that room. So anyway, AMD here, 0.3 to the upside. We had a couple of positive notes, not only on AMD, but basically the entire group today. This was as choppy. I mean, we get the gap to the upside, but pretty choppy day here for AMD. Back and forth we go.
Yes, sir. AMD was an interesting one. You saw Sean involved in that one earlier. It was a great trade. Not really much to add other than the MI300X processor that's coming to market soon. That's supposed to be competing with NVIDIA's H100. Lisa Su announcing that, so we'll have to see how they do next year, Brendo.
Yeah, it was Bank of America that had that positive note this morning. Here's the entire summary, though. Total ratings, bullish 7, somewhat bullish 5, indifferent 1 on AMD specific. So the last 30 days worth of changes, mostly on the positive side of things, guys, for AMD.
AMD wasn't a trade for me. The only chip name that should have been traded that was not was, and I'll just very quickly, should have been ARM. You know, you can talk about resistance. ARM got up there. It showed you 72, double top. You heard the midday show talking about double tops and double bottoms and triple bottoms, but it's the same thing in the other direction. ARM, it never broke the 72. This should have been an easy short, but it wasn't. It just get distracted by other names at 11 o'clock. Not blaming Uber, but I've been essentially trading Uber pretty much all day long. And 72, look, I absolutely love this. I love what the stock is doing. I think it has a decent chance to actually break this out. I'll probably be looking for, at some point, a long breakout at that 72 level. But now 2 days in a row where you've had a $2 pullback pretty much clean. And it's not like the high was 71.90 or 71.85. The high was 72 even in this particular case.
Yeah, so we're just looking here. ARM is great. I know you have that trade. I wish I was in some ARM. AMD, again, another positive trade, but it was a little bit tricky off the open for AMD. And we wrote it down. It's on the sticky note. You can go find that at Trader TV, Sean, of course. But the thing is like that 140, it got tested early. We let it go all the way up. When we failed 141, that's when we really started to short again. But then that first area short got us stopped out as we took down 140.25. Then all of a sudden, we just reshorted it, came all the way back in. That was a good trade, reshorted it again. And then I went for a walk, put a bid right here, and got that fill, came back, and we should have reshorted it. But again, AMD, another good trade for us. I mean, we're going to be red on Amazon and red on Microsoft, but everything that we're going to review is going to be pretty good. And by the way, look at Uber right now. It's not rocket science. Again, there goes Uber. Nice move back up to the upside as we're going to try to stay long here into the rebalance for Uber. I don't think I'll trade the rebalance, but we'll discuss it. And if it's big enough and good enough, then yeah, we'll be looking at that one. Uber tonight being added. More discussions on that after we do the rundown.
Yeah, let's talk about some Chinese ADRs here. We got some positive economic data out of China overnight, so a huge gap to the upside across the board here. Man, Alibaba's daily chart is not positive, but decent day here. It gets rejected off of 75. I mean, anything that wasn't EV related, kind of looking the same at this point.
You could literally flip PDD and Baba for
True.
opposites of one another.
PDD had a pretty good day.
It really has been, a rotation of that. But the data that we got out of China today, two pieces of information, guys. We got industrial output and retail sales. Industrial output grew 6.6% in November compared to the 4.6 we got in October. And retail sales also grew aggressively in November, 10.1%. Compare that to 7.6 in October. Sadly, though, retail sales coming in below analyst expectations. They were looking for a more bullish November than what we got. 12.5 was what they wanted, but not bad.
Yeah, across the board we had, there it is, 1.3% for PDD. Across the board we had gaps to the upside in the pre-market this morning, but some of the e-commerce names faring a little bit better.
Yeah, it's all well and good to say PDD. It's up 1.4%, but this is one of those like breakouts that kind of worked, but it didn't really follow through, unfortunately. So it gave you 149. This is a 15-minute chart here, broke the top. We're in it pretty much on the break, and then each subsequent dip. Re-entered it when it failed the previous breakup price. It got 49 into 49.60 was the first move. Then stopped out just under break even for a tight stop. Watched it claim the bid. Went long. Took the same out second time through. When it held the same bottom, jumped right back in the long. Got another 40-cent scalp trade. Then bought the dip again off the same support. It was working higher, and then again just stopped out underneath. So ends up working because I was always taking profit. But overall, it was this is weird, like it's a downtrend into a breakout trade. So your chances to buy the dip and take some profit, which did work out all in all, but really the alpha move is like you shorted every single one of those highs and it was trend down in Pinduoduo. Still think this stock is working extremely well, no questions about it. And on the higher time frame, above 147.5, this is still breaking out on the daily chart. Just can't seem to get that oomph through 150, unfortunately. I think it does happen, like the way this stock is going, like until it fails the previous level, kind of just go with the trend here. PDD, I don't think there's been a better Chinese ADR on the year. If there is, I'm not aware of it. They're doing really well with Timo. That's Timo that's actually been kind of putting a dent in Amazon's game there. So good look for Pinduoduo today.
Yeah, we again, one of the number one names P&L wise is going to be, well, Roblox because of what we're in right now, but Alibaba is a close second as we bought the dip. Right there early, 73.50 again, all over the sticky note. And then we bought 75 break as well, got out 75.50 all the way to the top side, tried it again before eventually it broke down. I love Alibaba. I think that that's going to be a trade for a very long time. I mean, this move was really impressive. I really enjoyed watching this go to the upside. I'm also enjoying right now Uber. Uber's going pretty nicely back up to the upside. We do have a 54-cent winner right now. And here's the pair, 44 million left to go on Uber. So lots of buy side here tonight. ET, 23 million, AT&T, Verizon, everything, man, as we go down, HPQ, ConocoPhillips, of course, and more. So we'll be updating this and showing you this as we go. But right now, let's go Uber. We were patient. We got a great fill. And now here it goes back up to the upside. So 60 cents in the money on this one, 80 cents in the money on, this is the number one P&L name here today. Roblox up, out, short, out. So right now, well, we still have a little piece, but this has been a good one here, Roblox. So let's go back over to the screen. EV strength. We did trade Tesla. We can talk about that when we get back.
Yeah, Tesla was a little bit volatile off the open this morning. We were discussing this one, though. NIO this morning, if you're with us in the pre-market, bringing their Firefly brand to Europe as of 2025. I mean, they call it their cheaper brand, but it's really not. It's 42,000, or the equivalent of 42,000 for that model that we showed this morning of the Firefly brand. But NIO trying to bounce off the morning low here right now.
Yeah, NIO has been a really good look lately, and I've been really critical of this company in the past, but you know, they really are changing things around. Firstly, they're really focusing more on SUVs. They divested their battery plant so they can get costs in order. Now they're looking at expanding their product output and looking to go to Europe, which is really interesting. The only headwind I really see here for exports is the European Union's investigation into unfair subsidies by the Chinese government for some of these Chinese EV makers. So we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. But great look today for NIO.
I still say it looks like a Model 3, especially the newer one,
it.
the updated Model 3. The
Yes.
front. The front has that same like sharper edges and stuff, but I don't know. That's it.
I think XPeng copies Tesla a little bit more than NIO, but I see exactly what you're talking about. But XPeng's the one that's been known for their flattery of Elon, I suppose is the best way to say it. I don't want to say copying it, but for NIO, I had one trade, and it was an 8 break on NIO. Like obviously, you can sort of see what happened. This is yesterday's high. It was like 8.02 or something, but I mean $8 had a decent consolidation level, so went long at 8.5 when it broke. It got to 10s and then came back. This is not, I didn't go short. I'm not sitting in a short. You guys can see there. As a matter of fact, I'm in a nickel of one at 91.5. But you have this $8 level, got taken back out, and then we just got out at 97. So it was a one-shot deal for me on NIO. The real one where I'm going to be upset with myself was Rivian. So Rivian was looking for the dip buy, and Rivian just did not execute didn't execute it well on it at all. And I'm not happy about it. It's going to happen to you sometimes. We went dip buying. I know a few people were able to catch this one, and it's not as if there wasn't strong buying when it got back into 22. Anticipated that it would do a little bit of a dip and rip. First level for me was going to be the 22 even. It then put in a challenge right in here at 21.65, which is right on the support line, and an unwillingness to chase on the way back up is going to be the issue. Like you just got to be able to get into this one somewhere in the 75 to 80 range. It goes right into that second support level, and then it's off to the races. It's going to happen. I know sometimes the way I'll look at it is the days where I don't get destroyed, sort of going all the way in. You know, you can overcompensate and not be aggressive enough, because when you're playing a play like this, in some ways you know the dip buy can take 2 or 3 times before you find the level. And you know that in the playbook at 9:30 going into it. Now Rivian is a stock, when it dip buys, it can give you $1 clean. You know this. It's going to give you 5% type moves, right? So it's worth it going at it a couple of times there. If you stop out 10, 15 cents once, should be willing to stop out 10, 15 cents a second time, a third time, because it only takes one move where you capture 50 to 75 cents of $1 move average, and then it's paid for at least 3 or 4 attempts. So, you know, shouldn't have only been 1 attempt for me on Rivian. There's no question about it. Like you can't have dip buy Rivian be one of your top 4 ideas in the morning and then only take it once and then see that kind of happen. So, you know, I can't be happy with myself when it comes to that. But I do love what Rivian's doing. I know the only regret I have is, I bought Rivian once, and I don't have enough ARM shares. And I've been saying that since the IPO for ARM, and I can't stop saying it. Should have been more aggressive buying that. If you like a company, just DCA. Just DCA. I think that's dollar cost average for those who don't know. And Rivian as well, it's been breaking out. I think you can see 25 in the near term. If it busts through that, I'd probably be a seller if it fails the 25 level. Or at least, well, I mean, I'd probably be trimming some if it fails the 25 level, and then see what happens if it got to 28. But at some point, you knew these EVs were going to get off the runway. It just so happened that it was the Fed on Wednesday that got things started.
The only one we traded today was Tesla. And it was fun. It was fun for a while until it just broke higher. And we got out, and we talked about that on the midday show there with Sharif and Adair. Like, you know, here's the short 251. What's up, guys? There's the short 251. Brought it back in 250. Like, these are 75 cents, 50 cents. Shorted again on that move up. That's about $1. Got in and out for flat. Let it pop back up to 252. Got out. These are 251s. Those are dollars. Then shorted again. Then eventually it broke above 252. So for me, Tesla, probably a stop out trade until we get up to 254. Like, I mean, the market, again, we said it could be slow. It's pretty much, and by pretty much, it's almost exactly where we were at open. This is the open right here. And so you're coming right back in. So you made a move up, you made a move down, 100 handles one way then the other, and now you're right back to where you are. So I don't know. For right now, I'm not expecting too much here into the close. Here's Uber. It was 44 million. Now it's 38 million. So that pair is coming out. But Uber right now is rocking to the high side, 60 cents in the money. And the thing about Uber is it's already taken out its 52-week high. This is another name, as Neil was just saying. Like, again, it's kind of like Snapchat for me. Snapchat, we're in the money 70%. And Uber, we actually bought it right here at 32.33. So this is only from May, and it's like a double here as well. So I'll be getting out of some of this next week after the rebalance is finished. So let's just wait to see this happen. And we actually bought it for that reason. This was the quarter. They only needed one more profitable quarter to be added. So once they beat here, this is the quarter back in May, and then we got it in the summer, then again in the fall, then the announcement, and now it's straight up to the upside. So that's a pretty good example there of kind of like buy the rumor, sell the news. But I mean, there it goes. Nice upside move there for Uber.
Still going, yeah. Nice luck. 0.32 here for JPM. We were discussing some of these banks this morning. Coming off the Fed, going back to earlier in the week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, trying to be 7. FYI, we're still on pace for 7 weeks in a row to the upside for the S&P 500. This has been a big reason why of late, these banks still helping.
Yeah, they're looking at the prospects of higher loan growth and lower deposit fees, as they've had to pay higher deposit fees during these elevated interest rate times. And obviously, you know about mortgage demand. It's been historical lows, 30-year lows, 20-year lows, as the 30-year mortgage reached over 8% at one point. So that's going to ease a little bit here, Brendo, hopefully buoying that market.
Yeah, range is a little bit tighter today, right across the board as far as these banks are concerned, but still nicely positive, guys.
Yeah, things were a little bit tighter. I'm disappointed in the price action on JPM today. To be honest with you, like it's set up pretty well for something to happen over 165, and then you got like a snooze fest. Unfortunately, like every time it broke the high, immediately rejected, broke the high, no volume comes in above, fails, breaks 65 again, no volume, fails, breaks again, no volume, fails. At that point, I suppose the only trade would have been to short the 165 level on JPM on the way through, but I was looking for a long to set up, and it just never did. And you look at the daily chart, and this is why sometimes you just want to look for a place to join the trend and think there's going to be a better move to the upside. But there wasn't today. And I mean, it's a gorgeous looking daily chart. There's no question about it. I'm talking to you for JP Morgan here. Just running out of steam maybe a little bit here at the 165 level. So a bit of a disappointment there. They're not necessarily, I mean, this is adjacent. There was a pullback in SoFi today. I will just simply note this previous high right at about 9.15 or so on SoFi is being retested here. It got tested yesterday on a dip. It's being tested again. This would be a pretty good sign if it could hold on to this level. You go back to the daily, find previous resistance for support, held it once, lower high, now it's at the same key level. I think we could be watching some, I mean, SoFi might be a trade this afternoon. I'm hoping it's a bounce off this 915 level. Maybe you can start taking the quarters back out and you get a move into the 40s and 50s. But if this cannot hold the bid here, not great for SoFi. I mean, I'm happy for the SoFi run, but it's a key level it's trying to hold at this bottom.
Just to go back to my past point, yeah, SoFi yesterday was a great trade through 920, so that could be another level there again, so good point. But right here, $64. This is the all-time high for Uber right now. So you're right here, right now. It goes all the way back to 2021, February of 2021. This is a weekly chart for Uber. So again, you've had to go through a bit. Isn't it so funny that this year, like this is how wild it's been, you know, and this is why when I look at my account, I'm like, hallelujah. So Uber made basically its all-time low this year, right here, and its all-time high in the same year, and it's been around for 4 years. So anyways, 3 years, sorry. Nice move all the way back up. There's the low 23.90. I mean, the really, I mean, I don't know what's up with that. Wick 13, that's probably, that's exactly the COVID. I mean, I guess it must have wicked down there that week. That makes sense. This is a weekly chart, so it's not actually the all-time low, but if you're gonna look at closing lows and things like that on a weekly, you're pretty much right here at 20 bucks. So what a great move up there for Uber. I feel like, as I was saying, probably a good idea to start to get something out if you're in a trade like, I mean, if you're in a trade like I am, down here at 30, all the way back up. So, yeah, here we go. Nice move upside there for Uber.
Here we go.
here we
I
go.
guess
Right.
we're done with the banks, but I just saw this. I'm going to assume, who did this poll? Was it Bears versus Bulls? Oh, Fabian on the poll. Thank you very much. What's your underdog EV pick? So I feel like it would be fun if there was like an other, just so that all the Mullinites or whatever people that like Mullen call themselves these days. Oh, we only have 4 options. So, well, this is anticlimactic because you just heard me say out of these 4 which one I own. I know exactly what Sharif is going to say. He's going to say Li Auto. Rivian, 61% of you say Rivian, 19% Neo, 7% Xpeng, 12% Li Auto. Now up to 13, but clearly it looks like Neo is the number 2 there, not Li Auto Sharif, but my vote is cast for Rivian. I feel like with those options, like it's 3 Chinese EV names and you can only pick one of the American ones, which makes it a little bit unfair. So you're either betting on China or you're picking. It's almost like you need more options than that. It'd be more fun if you could do like 7 or 8 because you need to put like a Lucid in there. You need to have
Yeah, the poll is
like
flawed.
BYD. Like
We could close the poll and reopen it. You know, could do that if we wanted to.
It is a little fun. But I am in, just quickly, I am in Nikola. So let's just want to quickly show you guys that. If we come to my charts, Babe, thank you, Fabian. So Nikola failed $1 today. More precisely, it failed 98 cents. I know there's a wick to 99, but the true high is 98 cents. It failed that. When that happens, I'm looking for a lower high. I found a lower high at 93 and was shorting the 91 to 91.5, 92 area. Shorting it pretty much the entire afternoon off that lower high. If it breaks 93, I think it could see another test of the dollar for Nikola there. Let's go back over to the desk and take care of some business.
All right, make sure you guys take advantage of this, as we heard from our friend Michael Noss over at Trade Ideas this morning. They're having a holiday portfolio challenge with Trade Ideas. Over the holidays, everyone's going to have a ton of time. Market's kind of quiet, so we'll be doing a lot of back testing. Great time to get involved with not only this, but also Trade Ideas in general. Take advantage right now. Bottom right corner, use that QR code on screen. Use the promo code TraderTV25. Get yourself 25% off. You can also win $2,200 on Amazon, guys.
There you go. Go for it. Like nothing like a good challenge. Just one quick note. So Uber, that pullback, it's still holding previous highs. So I was short Uber initially in front of 93, sorry, 63, you guys know. Obviously, that's not going to be a winning trade, but it's been a long ever since. The break above 63 that holds on to previous resistance levels. That's what's happened here on Uber. We'll see what happens at the close. We'll keep our ear to the ground, not ear to the ground, I guess, eyes on the early look and balance, which is still a buy. That's what's expected. I don't think we're going to see anything. It doesn't have to come out a buy and bounce on Uber, but the early look is that. I'm surprised you aren't seeing like Solar Edge, one of the deletes up there already, but Solar Edge is maybe NASDAQ, that's why. Yeah, I don't know if there's any big deletes on the New York. Now that I think about it, I think the deletes are on the NASDAQ side of it, but again, we'll keep you apprised of any big moves over there. Want to get on over to Tesla. It's been making a little bit of a pullback into 250. Now the 250 level, it bounced right off here at 11 o'clock or just as we were coming off air. Got a few wicks in there, apologies for that. If it can't hold on to 250, yuck, but you know, first things first, previous support, let's see if it can hold it again. It feels like a bit of a failure at VWAP in there on Tesla, and it is one of the red stocks, but it's a little too tight to the 250 level to do anything but allow it to break down. And oh, I am in Affirm, by the way. Affirm breaking lower, simple case of morning bottom. It broke the morning bottom, looked short underneath. It's now held that 44 area, so I've been short in front of it as it tries to break further to the downside. It has a 43 support from yesterday, but just trading it inside of that range, 44 top into that 43 level here on Affirm, which is down 2.5% into a flat market. This one has been an absolute rocket ship. It's like a couple of red days in a row for a stock that almost tripled in the last couple of months. I think it's going to be worth a look for some retracement plays in the next couple of weeks. I mean, come on, man, it tripled. I know people are bullish about the consumer and all, but If this just pulls back to 40, that's not even that big of a move.
Yeah, you if you're holding a firm for a higher move than that, I don't know. That's a great one, like you just said, man. The triple is huge.
What are you asking?
Yeah, and it's the same thing with Uber, like we were talking about it. Like you're at all-time highs right now. You got to double. I mean, it's the same kind of thing with Snapchat, but you got to monitor your own trades. Like some people will hold for a while. I was doing a little bit of research trying to find out a few things there. But at the end of the day, as far as rebalancing is concerned, we started the day off there with, I think it was 44, 48 million shares to be paired off for Uber right now. I thought we had something in and around 200 million or so was what was estimated to have to be added. So you're only getting a total of 100 million right here. So there's going to be more coming at 350 for sure. So we're just going to hold this, probably buy dips, but I'm uncertain of what we're going to do. So I don't know. I'm not sure how much risk I want to put into it, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll keep on looking at it. All right. So that's Uber. We'll keep it up there for anybody interested in it. Anything else moving around? Okay. So like Intel is really. It's too bad. It's too bad that we didn't hold that short because right now Intel is a pretty monstrous short. We were short right there until we got stopped out, which is pretty insane. But there it is all the way back down in today's low again. I feel like down here, Intel's a buy. So why don't we do that? Let's put on a couple shares here of INTC, see what winds up happening. I'm not overly bullish on the market, but of course we put a bid in and now I'm gonna have to just punch in a little bit there because it runs away. So there it is, we'll bid 91s. The bottom of the day looks to be like, I don't know how low we wanna hold this. Those wicks I don't think happened. So that's 45.65. So right into here, maybe like a break of 80. Or something. So there we go. We got loaded up a little. Well, we actually didn't get their 91s. We're long at 92 right now on Intel. Let's see where we go. I feel like there's a chance for this. We're green, obviously, on Intel today. And let's just see where we go from here. I mean, a nice retracement all the way back down. Seems aggressive to me. Market's up, trying to get back to VWAP. Let's just try. There we go. There. Now we have the fill. And we're not going to be, again, end of the day, we're short Roblox, we're long Uber. This is just a trade. I know some of you guys are looking for something, so this just popped into the low of the day. It's a name that we've already traded here today. It's a green name for me. So let's just go back to the well and see if it can work. So again, trying to give this about 10 cents, like maybe a little more than that. So if it can get back up into 46-ish, I think that would be a good out. I mean, the 50-period moving average that's really followed it all the way down is only at 46 right now. So like, why would we break it all of a sudden? You know, I'm not so sure about this trade. So let's just be in it for a scalp. Here it goes. I mean, now was 3 pennies. Let's see if it gets up there. Like 3 pennies is a third of the way to our target. So if we can keep going to the upside, we'll do that. Let's put an offer in and around 46 and see what winds up happening here.
It was just a question about Palantir here. I'm going to quickly try to show you a 15-minute chart. It's been like it got to 19 and sort of failed 19 here on Palantir. I'm going to show you this close. So after its Quadunk day, now I don't have another word for it, from the day that it tanked through the $20 level, was a 10% move down. The day after, it managed to close at about 1830, then completely rejected that price 2 times. And if you want to count yesterday, it kind of rejected that breakout at the open with the same resistance level. So that's where this 1830 area comes from. Well, look where it grip and ripped it from. Exactly that 1830 this morning, and then you got resistance at 1830 so far this afternoon. So just said 1830 about 5 or 6 times. You probably know what I'm getting at. It looks to me like the afternoon play is short under 1830. If it breaks out, look for some longs on Palantir above 1830. Kind of a boring answer, but that's the key level. Like every single day, there's some kind of importance to that price when it's close to it. So I don't see why that changes just because it's a Friday here, but not a great day. It actually turned red on the day. As the market's pumping, well, not pumping, as the market's bouncing higher, it's a decent move. I do think it has a chance to make a run at that 1830, but my first look would be, okay, well, go for that as a short, and if it breaks out the top, fair enough, then you can look for some longs. DocuSign has, for now, run out of steam. Anytime there's potential deal chatter, speculation, and that stuff, I tend to not want to short the stock because you don't really know what you're dealing with going into the short. Like, what happens if you short this as a day trader and they halt it, news pending? right? Like there is some risk to that. At least you have an idea what you're risking if you go into the long. You just go, it could always just halt. There's nothing happening. It goes back to some previous prices. Like, you know, if you long at 63.5 or something and they halted over the weekend, you're probably not doing worse than when it broke out. But what if they halted over the weekend and there's a deal at $75 or like a 25% premium or something like that? So you're not going to see me short this in the afternoon. I'd look maybe VWAP for a bounce play, 62, 63's got some support, but it's starting to calm down here a little bit on Docu. Just not something that I want to have any chance at trying to fade here. I don't think it's worth the risk.
All right, speak about fading. I am going to put in, what time is it, 2:30? I'm going to hope that Randy's still here. I know you probably don't want a coffee, do you?
No, I just had it.
All right, coffee. Sure, man, a 1 milk. Yeah, just a little.
Almond milk, right?
No, I'll go without almond milk.
And you're,
I'm all about dairy.
You just say
Thanks, Sharif. He's going to go get that there. He says almond. Almond. Alamode.
You know why? It's because
Alamode.
It's because Alfred's such a good friend that he, you know, in his head he has to say. Oh, he forgot his phone. Now he's getting heckled for everything. I don't know.
Nah, it's because he tried to sneak, like, instead of just walking that way, he tried to sneak behind. Look, I mean, it is.
You know the camera. I mean, he knows the camera's on. He went behind.
I don't know what he knows, anyways.
It's fine.
Okay.
Did you see Oracle today?
No, but I saw Ford over the last little while. Like Ford.
Go for it. Oh, I don't have a.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a nice move, but again, like we actually talked about this the other day. I think it was yesterday, actually, or 2 days ago, or you know, that Ford was right into here, into the 1260 area, and again, like that's been a nice move off that bottom. So we talked about the interest rate environment changing, obviously heading into 2024 with over 100 basis points now. Oh, we have Frank coming up soon, actually. Great. Yeah. With 100 basis points plus now discounted for the for the rates sector, I guess. We're at 525, 550. It's going to go down into fours. So we're hoping for that. And I think that that's going to be really great for the automotive sector and industry, right? Because the more and more cars that are purchased, I mean, it feels like everyone always wants a new car or a new toy or something, and a lot of that, you know, revolves around financing. So if rates get back going, you know, all of a sudden, if you wanted that F-150 or whatever you wanted, yeah. See, unfortunately, I had to reset my chart because it just closed on me, so it's going to look ridiculous until I edit this. But the idea that I was getting at is just like, after all of this, maybe now a rate of, you know, 4.99 may entice you better than 8.99 or whatever.
I'd hope so.
So yeah, so that would be something, and then refinancing as well. And the thing about asset classes, the more we raise up, you know, like when you look at your crypto account and it's up 30% or 50% or more than that in the last couple months, it's kind of like, okay, that would spark you to maybe spend more money. You know, and that's why you're looking at a lot of these names, man. You're seeing the retail names, Macy's. I mean, look, Target as well. Macy's a little.
The deal news. So.
Yeah. But even Target, I mean, you know, the beat down names. As we came in, Target was $100 a month ago. You know, it's $140, like 40% up. And their quarter was not good. Like, it was fine. It was just not that bad. So there's the huge move up and I said this yesterday, by the way. So if anybody's listening, put it in the chat. If you remember, I said yesterday, Target puts. Like, looking at this stock, saying this stock comes all the way back down. I don't know about all the way, but I definitely think we break 130. We were sub 140 yesterday when we talked about it, obviously. Or sorry, greater than 140. Now you're down to 138 and change. 2%, those puts hopefully are cooking. I think this comes back down in. So let's just be careful on holiday shopping. Obviously, we're all spending like crazy. I don't know. I know our family is. You can see right here, Visa, huge move to the upside. Visa's at all-time highs right now as well. Like, look at this extension. So I feel like there is going to be some pullback here. And first one on the retail side, Target. Next one, if you're feeling real groovy about it, Affirm. Downside, pronto on that name.
I think the 50 level is going to be like a very if Affirm gets to 50, I think I think it's pulling back now.
Let me see what Affirm looks
I'm not sure it gets to the 50 level. I kind of feel like it's in the pullback right now on Affirm, but so I've been looking for some shorts here pretty much every single opportunity. But if it gets to the 50, I mean, come on, man,
that 46.
Past a triple up. Like I don't know. It's too much. It's too much.
These companies their only value I feel like is in getting bought out. I don't know. I don't.
I'll tell you the other crazy thing. I don't know how much
no one's buying them
online.
No,
I've been seeing
a lot.
I've been seeing way more Klarna at checkout than I was used to, which is weird. I mean, I feel like it's a lot of Affirm. But I've been seeing Klarna all over the damn place. You guys tell me your experience. I'm just sort of saying, anecdotally, I'm just talking about that. I've been seeing them for the buy now, pay later almost everywhere I look when I'm shopping, just throughout like Christmas and then the birthdays and all that stuff recently.
What's up, Andrew Ditter? He's on the Affirm to zero train. I don't know about to zero, but can we get $15?
Debt's, debt financing, all that stuff. It's a good business to be in. It's just, I think it's a little bit aggressive, the move it's made. Oracle's move, I think, has been fantastic. I wanted to get to that one here.
Oh yeah, you mentioned Oracle.
Because Oracle has okay, technically it's like a double bottom, but I want to call it a triple bottom because after the earnings, it closed without testing 100. It then wicked 100, rallied, retested 100 yesterday. It didn't rally, but again, it didn't break, so it's not really, I'll call it a bottom because it didn't break. And then it wicked 100 again and rallied off that level. So you now have a defined bottom at 100. And then if you look at the aftermarket move down, that was about 103.5. So you found some resistance, 103.5, 104. It looks like it wants to break it back out. So Oracle, what goes up must come down. What goes down doesn't always have to come up, but when it gets to 100, this stock seems to want to get higher. The only problem here is it was making lower highs going into earnings, so it's not a very bullish looking chart. It might have some trouble getting into getting past the 250 period on the way back in, but last I checked, that's 107 and 110, meaning a breakout of this top has a little bit of room-ish to go. So once again, the 100 level on Oracle, absolutely gorgeous. Sometimes it's not that complicated. Like, find a company that is doing well, that a bunch of people like. You don't have to worry about whether people interested, do institutions like the company. If the answers to those things are usually yes, and they buy it off of a level before, then just look for signs of longs off that same level. You don't even have to guess. Just go into it after people start buying at that price. And that's already happening for you there. On Oracle, I just saw someone saying Meta is tanking.
Tanking? That means it's not.
The market's going up. Tesla's getting a VWAP here. I was about to say things are going the other way. Everything I'm looking at is going.
Yeah, this is
up, not down.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we're in this Intel trade. And I'm not surprised I'm in it. I'm just surprised it's not doing anything because the market is making the move up, and I thought Intel was relatively strong, but maybe not, as it's not moving at all. I just look, I know there's trolls and everything in the chat, but it's I'll just defend myself. I just go wherever the money is. Some days I'm 90% short, some days I'm 90% long. And look at this. This is my best trade today, long. Double barrel longs, Fabian, if you could. There's the first long on Alibaba, boom. There's the second one and the reload long. And they were both great trades. Obviously, we're long Uber right now. The Palantir was longs. That just didn't work out. And you got, things have to really just set up. And it's kind of that's why. And if you go back yesterday, I mean, the best trade of the month for me was that SoFi long through 920 yesterday, which was awesome, right? So it's just a matter of what sets up for breaks. And I mean, recently, some of the shorts, like AMD long at 136 has, first of all, been amazing. It's not down there. So the only choice I have is to go short because it's at 140, which I like to short it. So as soon as stocks break out, man, I go with these stocks. If they break out, if they have catalysts, their news, anything like that, absolutely no problem going long or short. So I understand that, when we are short, we have the advantage of being on a prop floor, so we could basically short for free and short at will. We just have to cover at the end of the day. And I know that there's a lot of traders out there that maybe don't have that margin or that ability to short. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. But I kind of, here's another one here as I just was trying to think about what else we went long as we have Frank. I mean, this is one trade long on Meta. That's $2. This is 336 to 338. So it's I've had dollar winners long and dollar winners short, and I want to thank you for bringing that up in the chat. All right, one man who may be long, he may be short, but he's definitely on time.
He's never short.
It's Frank Caberna with Brendo.
All right, yeah, an important week to get a roundup here as to what this means going forward after a very, very productive week, I think, Frank, as far as the bigger picture is concerned that you and I have been discussing over the past, I mean, let's be honest, years at this point. It seems like it's been a while when it comes to the inflation battle, but we finally get some indication from the big man himself. Fed Chair Powell comes out and actually indicates towards the fact that, yes, indeed, the market is pricing in a whole bunch of cuts coming up in 2024. And I guess his language was somewhere in the neighborhood of, yes, that is now the conversation they are having.
Yeah, and it might not seem like a lot, especially if you read those quotes, Brendan, but obviously markets making huge moves, and a lot of which in either uncharted territory or just some of the largest magnitude moves that we've seen in a while. And obviously the first here is going to be interest rates. And I thought it was really interesting to look at, here the before and after picture of where the market thinks rates will be. And before the meeting, it was close to 50-50, but erring on the side of no cut for January or March. Maybe they start looking at cuts in May and in the summertime of 2024. And then after this meeting where no action is taken, but to your point, the big waves being made around Powell's rhetoric for the first time, since we've been together here talking the last 2 years plus, rate cuts coming right out of his mouth for the first time in so long. And the market takes this as the most dovish thing possible. We go from less than a 50% chance of a cut in March to an 83% chance of a cut in March, which is just a huge, huge move. And looking across the Treasury curve, Brendan, I'm sure you've been looking at this, but the 2-year losing 40 basis points in a matter of 48 hours following this meeting. And obviously everybody watching the Fed funds rate, because that's what the Fed controls, but Treasury markets, Forex markets, stock markets, obviously already pricing a lot of this in, as now March is essentially as close to a full go as you can be 3 months out. They're at more than an 80% chance of at least one cut, an outside chance there of around 10 or so percent of being lower by 50 basis points by then. So is that pricing in a chance of a cut as early as January? I think I looked at that yesterday and it was about a 10 to 20% chance of that first cut actually coming in January, which obviously would really be bearish for dollars and potentially bullish for the stock market, as we saw. No coincidence that NASDAQ makes new all-time highs in the same time frame as Powell turning over to this rate cut rhetoric. But it's very rare that we see this type of shift. And I know that especially people new to options markets, futures markets, anything outside of stock, really can wonder, well, Frank, they haven't done anything, so why are we seeing these huge shifts in markets? And as has been the case for the last 5 to 10 years, really, the market has priced in way far in advance of the actual event what is potentially going to happen. And so though we didn't move into lower interest rate territory here in the last FOMC of 2023, the mere talk of interest rate cuts coming in the near future has shaken everything up. And now the conversation will be when, by how much, because the market is battling the Fed now. The dot plot obviously showing somewhere in the neighborhood of 75 to 100 basis points of cuts in the next year. And the market, as we'll look to in a second, is pricing in well over 100 basis points of cuts in 2024. So it feels like this is finally the worm turning, so to speak. We're done with the hikes, moving into the cuts. Of course, anything can happen. We get some inflation upticks in January, February, and this could be a lot different by the time March rolls around. But yeah, I was not expecting. I was very surprised to see such a dovish statement out of Powell.
Yeah, we knew it was coming at some point, and turned out it was this one that we finally get that indication. I want to get to this dot plot, and I want to explain to people a little bit about this, because we had, obviously the quiet period has come and gone for Fed representatives to make public comments. So we had 3 separate ones today that came out and got right back on that hawkish bandwagon and started, making these comments towards the fact that it's too early to be considering cuts, and that shouldn't be the conversation that the Fed is having right now. So it seems from that aspect, nothing has changed when it comes to what is actually coming out of their mouths. But this dot plot, maybe you can take a second here, Frank, to explain exactly what this is, contradicts those comments, right across the entire board.
Yeah, the dot plot is definitely a lot more hawkish than the market is pricing in. And so what we're seeing here, and I know it's obviously very fine print, but you can get the gist of the trend from this year to next, to 2 years from now, 3 years from now, and then the longer term is the furthest right column there. Excuse me. And what you're seeing is obviously a downward trajectory. Everybody has been expecting rates to normalize lower, right? That's been the big word, is not even necessarily from Fed Chair Powell that we're going to start cutting or that we're going to head towards 0%, but just the conversation is turning to normalize lower. As inflation gets to 2%, the overnight rate doesn't need to be 5%, which would be 3% higher. A real interest rate that high is kind of abnormal. And so as inflation normalizes, the Fed is expecting interest rates to normalize. The big difference, to your point, what central bankers have been saying, what the dot plot says here, is by the end of 2024, the focus of the distribution, when they polled central bankers who make this decision, is around 4.5%. And if you look at the FedWatch tool that is correlating to the same time frame for 2024, what rates will look like at the end of 2024, the focus of that distribution, essentially polled by futures traders in the market, is focused around 3.5% to 4%, almost 100 basis points lower than the current projections from the Fed. Now, we've seen this multiple times historically, this case of the market versus the Fed, and one always wins, right? We will get to the end of 2024 and interest rates will either be 4.5% or they'll be 4% or lower, or, the outside chance that inflation upticks again and they'll be where they're at now or potentially higher. Obviously, every outcome on the board, but right now it seems to be a game of nitpicking between 3.5%, where the market thinks rates could go to, 4.5%, where central bankers think they can go to. And obviously, futures traders for interest rates, same as you all here on Trader TV, same as futures traders for equities and everything else. No coincidence that the projection for lower interest rates, lower than 4%, correlating to all-time highs in NASDAQ. So if the market were to be wrong on that projection and the Fed were to be right, then you could see some bearishness play out in the stock market in 2024 in tandem with, yes, some rate cuts, but not as much as being projected in right now. But that, of course, could swing even further towards the market. The Fed, this, and I know most of the viewers out there know, a lot of this is posturing, right? They just don't want the market to go crazy, even if they're all sitting there thinking to themselves, yeah, we're thinking inflation's going to get down to 2%, maybe even lower by the end of 24. And we might bring interest rates lower than 4%, maybe even lower than 3.5%, even if that's what they're thinking in their heads or in their meetings. Publicly, they don't want to let loose on the market in one fell swoop. Oh, we're cutting, and oh yeah, maybe expect 100 to 200 basis points. And so I feel like a lot of it's posturing, especially for the odds to shift so far, so quickly. It seems like the cuts are coming. It is a matter, though, of 100 basis points or 200 basis points throughout next year. The market pricing in closer to 200, and stocks obviously really liking that. And so we'll see where they end up settling. Obviously, that's going to be why we show up every week of next year.
Yeah, I mean, stocks, as you said, almost back to all-time highs here across the board. For anyone, and I don't want to make too big of a deal of this dot plot, but for anyone who's seeing that maybe for the first time and is a little bit confused by what they're looking at, essentially each column here is representing a year, and each dot in the column is representing someone's opinion or a Fed representative's opinion, and then horizontally you get different interest rates on the way down. So as Frank was saying, you know, the trend is clearly to the downside here. The black dotted line, and then anything on the right side of that on your screen is quote unquote longer run, and you can see the majority of which is focused around 2.5%, and that goes out to the other side of 2026, Frank. So, I mean, as you said, Fed funds futures pointing to something a little bit different, you know, what the actual Fed representatives are saying and what the CME Fed funds tool is indicating here, definitely. But I want to touch on currencies here a little bit, because I saw a note, was reading during lunchtime, a lot of negative pressure, obviously, on the US dollar over the past couple of days since this happened. We had the Canadian dollar back to 4-month highs this afternoon versus the USD. I think a lot of things are going to be in that boat over the next, you know, coming days and weeks here.
Yeah, and it feels like we're due for a really interesting back and forth in 2024 for Forex, because you might get, I mean, it depends on what kind of trader you are, but some people love going with the trend and maybe love the idea of seeing, okay, interest rates are tracking to move lower, stocks are tracking to move higher, and X, Y, and Z. What's great about Forex, and we've seen this actually in the last 2.5 days since the FOMC, is the US dollar has gotten absolutely annihilated in the 48 hours following this FOMC event. And then today, dollar is actually up huge on euro and pound, over 100 pips of bounce back. Not so much against yen, because Japan actually might be the only central bank, major central bank that is. I know Russia is also hiking rates again. It's a different story, but Japan might be the only central bank, major central bank, that is going to be hiking in the next year or so. But what's really interesting about this, Brendan, is the Fed comes out on Wednesday, says that they're looking to change the conversation from hikes to cuts. That creates a lot less demand for a US dollar that's potentially going to have lower interest rates. Why would I want to be long dollars at a lower interest rate than the UK or the euro area when I could be getting a higher interest rate there? Everybody sells dollars, buys pounds and euros and everything else. And Australian dollar saw a huge jump on Wednesday as well. And now a huge reversal, because, of course, these central banks across the globe are likely to follow the U.S. They followed us on the way up, likely going to follow us on the way down. Not to say that we're the leader of where interest rates have to go, but they're seeing the same trends in inflation and everything else. And so a reason that I've always really enjoyed looking at Forex is it's a game of relativity, right? Not so much trending one way or the other. And I feel like we're going to get a lot of these moves, especially next week. For example, we have a host of European inflation and US inflation and Canadian inflation, I'm pretty sure, as well. And so oftentimes we'll get, you know, US has lower inflation print, the US dollar gets hit, and then the euro area has lower inflation as well, and then the US dollar regains everything that it lost. Now, that doesn't have to always play out, but a hell of a week here for pairs like euro versus dollar, pound versus dollar, that appreciated to the tune of, you know, 200 pips in around 24 hours. Huge moves. And then today, paring back more than half of those gains, except for that Japanese piece. Like I say, the Bank of Japan, they're meeting on, I believe it's Monday or Tuesday night. I think it's Monday night going into Tuesday. And they might be the only central bank that's hiking into all of this, and that's to say they haven't hiked interest rates since 2007, so they're considerably lower than most of the other major economies. But yeah, the moves in Forex, if interest rates are trending in one direction and stocks are trending in one direction, that Forex action might be a good back and forth.
It's been a huge move, obviously, for the U.S. dollar. Just quickly, just to wrap up here, going into next year, if we do start seeing not only one cut potentially, but multiple cuts, just on a projection basis, how much downside is there?
I would have to imagine that we get back to those longer term means, right? And it'll be a choppy path to 1.25 versus the euro, or 140, 150 in pound. But if everything goes to what theory would tell you, which is, okay, the US gained all of this value on these other currencies because they hiked interest rates faster and further than the UK, than Australia, than Canada, than the euro area, then theoretically you would expect that appreciation to come out to the same tune. And it's really interesting. If you want to go take a look, you can open a demo account at IG.com for free and look at all the price action since the 90s. You pull up a long-term chart, Brendan, I know you know this obviously, of the euro versus the dollar, or the pound versus the dollar versus the yen, and you see huge moves, right? Especially around the dot-com crash, around the '08 financial crisis, around Brexit, or around the pandemic. Huge moves. But I mean, you tend to see really similar prices over the long term, much like a crude oil chart. You see triple digits, you see negative, but in the long run, you tend to see $50 to $70 a barrel. It'll be really interesting to see if 2024 we do get that reversion to the mean, because a lot of people thought it was going to be this year, myself included. I thought this was going to be one of the worst years for the dollar that you could have seen, just because 22 was the best year for the dollar that we've seen in decades. We'll see if it is this year, obviously going into the end of the year, tracking that way. But you would expect, theoretically, given historical prices, to get back to a $1.25 for a euro and $1.50 for a pound, some of these historically normal prices. But we'll see. Maybe inflation sinks in the UK, or the euro area economic data sinks, and they have to cut rates further and faster than the US. That's why it's such an interesting game there in Forex.
Yeah, it's interesting when you actually zoom out and take a look at how long we've been at these elevated levels. So as you mentioned, a lot to come, not only in the next few weeks, but into 2024 as well. Listen, we really appreciate you jumping on a Friday afternoon after we had some technical hiccups yesterday. Have a great weekend, and we will touch base again next week.
Thanks so much, Brendan. Peace.
Thank you very much there, Frank. And, we can always count on the Frank rally in the markets. It was a little bit more muted today, but maybe that has something to do with, the big rebound. I'm gonna blame the index rebalancing at the end of the day for us only getting about 5 points out of the NASDAQ there. But there was a good point. It was a couple people in the chat mentioning, hey, look at VWAP, Adara's favorite indicator. The one indicator that is on, I don't want to say every chart on the trading floor here, but I'm pretty sure just about everybody uses it. NVIDIA bouncing off VWAP over and over and over again. So about 489, that looks really solid. So great look. I think if it gets back down there, go scalp trading. With less than an hour to go until the close, all eyes be on things like SolarEdge and Uber for reasons. But Uber did pair off pretty large there while Frank was talking. Oh, it even paired off further. It was 7, now it's down to 6 million shares, so that buy balance is down to 6. The paired volume is already 105. The expectation is something in the 200 million range. So, if this gets to and exceeding the 200 million share level, then it tempers the expectations going into the close. As long as it's underneath that number, we can expect an opportunity for some fireworks. But if that gets over 200 paired off and there's not much of an imbalance one way or the other, then it could end up a bit of a nothing burger, and we can expect that to be the case. So NVIDIA VWAP was one thing. I didn't really show you the Uber chart in reaction to that pairing off. Well, what do you expect? Uber pulls back from what was previous highs. I mean, if you go to the daily chart, Sean already showed you, you were at all-time highs on Uber. Let's see what happens when this gets back into VWAP. Can it hold VWAP one more time? We'll keep our eyes on that imbalance just to see if anything does change. Comp SRX, yeah, appreciate you, brother. And you said NVIDIA short added. So I had like an issue with one of my charts. Someone had said, oh my gosh, NVIDIA can't seem to break VWAP, and one of my charts was missing data, and it looked like NVIDIA was holding under VWAP, but it's holding above VWAP. So I'm assuming Comp SRX, you like the 91 short. NVIDIA is holding really well at that VWAP. Maybe a scalp trade, I suppose. I usually like scalping it the other direction off of VWAP. If it's holding VWAP, I'd want to be long off VWAP, but 91's been resistance. It's not necessarily a trade I'd make because I don't really see, like I can't see my reasoning. It's still kind of a bullish looking stock, but hey, you know what? Like you've obviously got yourself a level at 91 and it's in the money. So who am I to say, Nicola, I need this to get under VWAP. I'm shorting this off of this 93 resistance, but it can no longer seem to break 91. So I'm going to join some bids down here at VWAP just to see if I can get out of this sucker. Starting to run out of steam. Rambunk saying SoFi starting to go. It is, but I mean, barely. Like there's no volume behind the move. I'd love to see this get a run at VWAP here today, but SoFi has been pretty much asleep since falling at the open. Volume spike would be a lot better to start looking for some longs on that one. And just one more look for you here, guys. We were talking a little bit about big tech, but there were those in the chat saying, how are you not in an Amazon 150 short? I wasn't looking at Amazon this morning. And if this is the stock you're eyeballing, there's a double tap at the 150 level. I think that's about as good as it gets for resistance. 02s is the high of the day. I think it's worth a short if it gets back up there, but it doesn't necessarily mean you short it right here. The 150 level looks pretty darn good for Amazon. Strong stock, but you can see pretty clearly that double tap is worth a look for a short when you get it. But you got to pick and choose the names that you're going to be involved in. If you're not watching the level 2, you're not going to catch it. Dave saying ICCT, please. iCore Connect. Oh, this was a dollar break today. Decent volume. There might be some small caps going. The problem here is, yeah, the volume this afternoon, yuck. Not the best. It's not even a 1 cent spread for a $1 stock, which I like to see. If a $1 stock if it's got more than a 1 cent spread, that tells you something about how actively it's trading, which is not that much.
No, not that much at all. But let's hit the siren because we have a new position right now. And again, I don't like, so markets is under VWAP. Like these are just basically, it's kind of like just trying to teach you what I'm looking for. And then, if it works, great. I feel like this is another really low risk to reward situation right now by shorting Meta against this 336. Give it a couple more pennies higher than 336, and then so now we're in it. We're in as much as we need to be. We're short at 90 right now. Give this like 30 pennies. Like that top is 22. What did I put? 21s. All right, let's see if it wants to break higher than that. So 336, 30s. Right? Something like that. We'll get out if that is the case and it goes back down. So, I think this is, again, worth it. Here comes the risk, right? It's here for Meta. I like the risk to reward on this. Now, if the market just does what it wants to do, which is apparently nothing, then maybe we get nothing. But again, 20 to 30 cents worth of risk, I think is probably worth it right now to try this. So we'll put a bid a little bit lower, see if we get it. It just bounced again off the 50, which is 72. We'll wait a little bit lower to make this make sense. And then we'll get something in the 50s if we're able to. But here's a quick little short for Meta. It's too bad that we didn't wait for O's, but we did get something up there, giving us that average price of 90. So we'll see if this wants to work out. I said we would have this up for you. And by the way,
Aired more.
Money. There it is on Meta. Nice little move down. And again, I'm just kind of like doing what we're doing. We're at the highest level we've been at all day here today. And we just made more money on Meta right there. So yeah, no, I'm not. I'll just keep on this. Like I'm up. Okay. Again, like, you know, for those of you that like, oh, I only go short. Well, there's the long on Meta. Here's the short. Thank you. Come again. Nice knowing you. Let's see where Meta goes from here. Okay, Meta. All right. Now we're 30 cents in the money. We are bidding 53s down there. Let me just bid right now again in the 60s here. See if we can get a 61 fill. That'd be pretty nice right there. Another 30-cent scalp winner. And by the way, we did take something out on Roblox right there as well, 43.60s. So, hey man, now we're on Meta. So let's wait to see. And then here's the Uber stuff. Oh, I did want to say right there, let's just go there. Pfizer, new entry is what I was going to talk about here into the arena. It's 12 million shares.
Are we expecting something?
No, I'm not expecting anything. But Pfizer. Okay, this is my theory with Uber, okay, is everybody and their mother, including everybody behind us and probably their mothers as well, know about this Uber being added. When everybody knows something and it's very obvious, that's when normally arbitrage and good opportunities kind of get squeezed away. So that's why I'm saying, and Uber could be fantastic. I mean, the NASDAQ rebalance with that included Tesla and everything.
Tesla was 10x though.
Was great, right? And so Uber does have a great opportunity. And by the way, there's Meta for 50 cents. Uber does have a great opportunity to do something special, but I would say it's 80-20, it doesn't do anything. So we'll wait. I bought more here thinking that, you know, it's only 311 right now, so there's nothing going on right now. We've taken a little bit of profit. We'll sit in it, but that's why I went over there and floated around with Meta. Oh, and Roblox, we took a piece out right there before it bounced up. We're getting very, very light in it. But yeah, we're still fine. Everything's fine. I just want to let everybody know that like I'm layering into this Uber, but I do not have huge expectations. And I feel like if we break this 6250 area, there's no way I'm holding this.
Just a bit of a lesson for Tesla was, I said 10x, I don't remember exactly how much bigger off the top of my head. It was significantly larger of an addition than Uber is. And if on that day, I won't say exactly what happened on Tesla because I don't have the chart to show you, but the equivalent pullback as the imbalances started coming in Tesla would have been the equivalent of Uber breaking this support and getting all the way down into the low 60s. That's how volatile Tesla ended up being if you just held along for the entire final hour. It was wild. There is no way, after what I saw in Tesla, and Tesla was a bigger buy and bounce, no way I'd want to hold it if it can't hold on to that support. I'm looking for a bounce off VWAP. It's starting to show some signs here. I think it's worth the shot to take the trade, but I will not forget how obscenely volatile when Tesla broke support that day after 3 o'clock, it just kept falling. There was no bid. Eventually the bid came in and it rallied and it closed higher and all that good stuff, but trust me, you did not want to be sitting there. You could have been stopped out. I'm sure there were actually people that probably did get shut down because they could have gone long too early, and then before the imbalances came, they might have hit their loss limit because that's how big of a move they got made on Tesla. It's not hyperbole or exaggeration to say that it could move that much. That said, I think it's going to be worth the shot, so I'm going to take it. I told you I'd get some out of Nikola, that 92 level. It just starts to go back and forth, 92 and VWAP. So I'll just kind of try to rinse and repeat that one over and over again. I haven't gotten the reload in Affirm. It's not much of a range, so I took it once here. We're able to get the 73 down into the 53. Been trying to reload here in the mid-70s. Yeah, I'm not going to get 70. Looks like I wanted to get 77. I don't think I'm going to get that. So I'll have to go mid-70s, like low 70s to try and capture that 20-cent range. And again, it's just trying to find something. It's relatively weak, so I'm favoring the short down here, but you can see the sort of the scalp range that this one's in. So I can get rid of the old orders and try to get a little bit more aggressive for some reloads here in Affirm. But as mentioned, the second Uber gets into VWAP, it makes a little bit of a bounce. Now back above 63. I think it's worth ringing the register. There's a big difference between the momentum trade on Uber and whatever the heck happens at 350, because who knows what happens on 350. I just say you trade it like normal until 350, and then if something happens, it happens. I wouldn't get there. I wouldn't be of that, oh, it's going to be a long. I could favor the long, but I wouldn't just sit there averaging in and holding the long because you expect to be a buy and bounce. Just trade it like normal. I can favor the long side, but I'm still going to have outs.
Okay, so more outs there on Meta, and shout out to Steve G, because you still got Intel, but mine came out. It broke through VWAP there, and we wound up getting out of Intel for that I guess it was a 10-cent hit. We were very, very close to that bottom. Like, we should have probably held on to 70s there, but it broke. We were only looking for 10 cents. We would have been out already, but good call, good hold by you there as Intel continues to work back up to the upside. All right, I mean, there's a nice spike up for Uber, so we'll just keep, there it is. See, now back into the buy side. Another 33 million just comes into the building. So the thing about all of this is, this makes me think even more that this trade's not going to work, because now you have 140 million shares that are going to get paired off, and it's not even going to be 330. So, like, we were hoping that all of a sudden at 350, like, bang, it goes to 100 million to buy. Could easily still happen, but I thought the number that we were looking at was 200. So you've already paired off a lot. And that 33 is going to get paired off as well. But now it comes back up to the upside. So here we go. Nice little win for us on Uber. Probably worth taking it out. I will not, because we had a great November. We're having a great December. I just think that I'll put some risk into this, but not as much as, like, if I maybe didn't have something working, right? So I want to see if this works. It's been a while since I've done anything on the close. Meta right here. So we could zoom back in a little bit. This is just ultimately the scalping, right? And scalping is just what's paying the bills. And I mean, we hold for huge trades. I mean, like I said, we had $4 winners today, 4 $1 plus winners today, right? So, but right now for scalping, this is a good trade, I feel like. Like, when you're taking, you know, maybe 20 or 30 cents worth of risk to get something like 50, that's going to be pretty good. We are now out of 70% of this trade. Again, ultimately, we are just hoping to get down to VWAP, and if we got that, that would be great. We do have another fill down there, and then maybe breaking lower. But look at the market. You know, we said this would be, I mean, it's right on here. Slow day, right on the sticky note. And honestly, heading into the close now with all these shares apparently coming at the end of the day, I could see relatively minimal movement. Like, here's where the futures opened up, right? This range right here. So this is the open. You can see the volume at the bottom. And I mean, this is what we're doing right. That's not a very good one. But this is what we're doing right here. It's kind of like you're just in the same area. You know, much better if we were somewhere around here in order to make bigger plays to revert back to VWAP. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about, reverting back in. But right now we're just going back and forth with it, dancing around VWAP. So I don't really, for me, we'll trade Meta. That's all good. See, Uber, like I just said, boom, right back down in. So this is going to be a trade that hits at 350. So let's just continue to watch it. We'll look for NASDAQ names as well. And then coming up at 330, we'll get an early look on the imbalance. And it's going to be trillion something, because everything added up is going to equal something big. So get ready for potentially a big move. And I'm going to try to be flat. I'll try to be flat everything.
That's the idea, usually on every balance day.
Which is why we're getting out of Roblox. We already got out of, we have 5% left of Roblox. Roblox, the #1 P&L stock here. And we only put it on right now. Well, we got back and forth, but this is the big one. So yeah, chill mode is kind of what we're in right now, waiting into the close. So Bitcoin 42.1.
So the other thing too is you saw that imbalance on Pfizer. I pulled it up just to see if Pfizer was moving off of that early look. Absolutely not. And that's 13 million I think we just saw on Pfizer on the imbalance locator. Even that's not going, and that I don't think we saw anything expected for them. Nikola just broke VWAP, so I said I would take some out if it broke VWAP. It got into the 90 level, so got some 91s and some 90s. It's just a support and resistance play. Actually a resistance play because I'm going short. If I hit the low of the day, I'm out. If it gets down to 87, I'll be happy with it. If it's a 5% kind of bounce zone for a dollar stock, that can be expected. What I will say about Nikola though is next week it might be this could easily break out. If this gets past like 105, 110, I could see this making a nice little mini rally. So, you know, good start for it, trying to reclaim a dollar. It was a short today off of that level, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what it is next week. I love that dollar level every single chance you get. So it's been a good short off of this. I just think next week, if it is able to break 105, this is a stock that has some opportunity to run. And by the way, DocuSign, for those that are still paying attention to it, it's made one bounce off VWAP. I'll probably go for a little bit of a cheeky long off. If it bounced off 62 here, so if it can hold the higher low, I'll look for a little bit of a continuation play. I'm not sure it breaks the high of the day or anything like that, but not a stock that I wanted to go short. I understand the reason to want to fade something like this. It's just from a risk reward standpoint. I remember I was trading Save and on similar kind of rumors and ended up getting caught in an overnight position there. So I figure if you're going to get caught overnight, there's limited risk in a long, and it's over a weekend. In a short, what happens if there is a deal? That's the way I look at it. You're not going to be sleeping well because you can get a 10, 20% premium. It's only up 11%. We've seen deal premiums 20, 30, 40% all the time. So I'm only looking for a long trade off VWAP here in DocuSign.
All right. I mean, we could just, we're still cooking. It's fine, right? Like Meta right now is 50 cents. We just took another piece. Well, I said I was going to wait. I'm just, like I said, I'm just in chill mode. So there's another one. That's 50 cents. Like, again, Uber's tanking. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what? Yeah, VWAP don't matter, man. Right now, because again, if you're nothing technical, like if you're trading this because like everyone's here, not everyone, but people are all waiting to put their risk into Uber right now. When, I mean, there's a nice bounce. Like, I wonder if scalping, like we were in the money there and there's the bounce down. But what I was getting at about that, and Shreef's just yelling about VWAP, I think that's where we took it there. I feel like averaging back into this is something okay. I just feel like this right now, technically, we're moving on, what's going to happen tonight. So I'm not like if all of a sudden this goes Uber's S, then you're not going to worry about VWAP anymore because you're going to be down here somewhere. So I'm not, like for right now, my out is 62.50, and that's fine. Like we are right now up. Fine. We don't discuss P&Ls here, but we're up fine. And I'm not, I'm not going to risk something on a what if situation. But again, I think it's worth it. And I'm just here to talk about anything you guys want to. So Apple right now, 198. Maybe I'm just going to minimize this for a second because it's only 320. All right, Apple's huge. And we talked about this over the last little while with AAPL. And that is like, if you are nervous about it, I feel like this is the one trade that you can get out of if you're nervous and then just buy it back for a couple percentage points higher, because we've seen before when it's hit tops. I think when it hit the $1 trillion, I know it's 3 trillion now, but when it hit the 2 trillion, I think we were down here near 150. It had pulled back into a pretty good move back there. I feel like we went from 130 back in a little bit. Maybe it was right here. I think it was right into here somewhere where we made a move all the way back down. Yeah, that would make sense. 150 back in. And then again, up here when we hit the $1 trillion club in and around 192, I believe it was, you did have a little bit of an extension and then right back down again and then eventually touching the bottom of 165 or whatever it was there. So, now I could see the same thing happening. You're getting to a key level and the buyer's just exhausted for this name. I don't think that that's necessarily something that I'm going to wind up doing, but I could see as a trading strategy, I only hold Apple in my long-term account, but if it was a swing trade and you're a little bit nervous, like you've had a nice move up here, I feel like taking some out now and then getting back in as we break through 200 might be something, or getting out a half or something right there. And I saw what you said, Andrew Ditter. I hope it works out for you. I'll probably wind up doing the same thing here on Affirm. You just bought, I think you put in there March 25 call puts for Affirm, and it's because of the Packers' average age. That's great. Yeah, the youngest team.
25 and a half, I thought.
Yeah, I think it's 25 and a bit. So right back down there, like that trade, and I actually think you could have yourself a winner. You paid $1 for those. So, I mean, next week when those are worth 6 or 7, when Affirm opens up Tuesday or Wednesday of next week down here at $33, then that will be a good trade. So let's wait to see what happens here on Affirm. I like that move. And yeah, Meta, again, we're almost out now. So we only had 30%. Now we only have 20%. Actually, we have a little bit more than that. We have about 25% left now on Meta. So I really like that Affirm trade. I may go put that on myself, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that stocks, it's a matter of too much too soon or too fast, I guess is a better way to think about it. So too far, too fast for that name. And then you go into next year, there might, I could see all the reason in the world why the profit taking on that might happen in the new year, and as opposed to at the end of this year, like maybe people don't want to pay the taxes. So I'd be more inclined to think that you could have a bigger move down in the new year. But I'm scalping it for now. It's not really doing a heck of a lot. I just got a reload in the mid 70s, looking for the 60s into the downside. Someone just asked what's going on with DocuSign. Just simple deal speculation. So there's
Yeah, I forgot about DocuSign.
DocuSign. There's no firm offer for DocuSign or anything like that, but there was some deal speculation. You can see on volume, it just absolutely flew on that. It went all the way to the June highs, or at least close enough to the June highs. I suppose it didn't quite break them, but those are just wick tops at 65 and change. So big move in DocuSign. It's just bouncing off VWAP now. I'm just looking for a continuation long off VWAP. What's Shreve getting so excited about? I just heard him say pump it and all that good stuff. You know what?
Oh no, he's excited about Uber. Sorry, yeah.
I don't know. I'm taking some. I'm gonna try and I didn't reload off VWAP there, but I'm gonna take some out and get back to VWAP. And like, why not? If it's a scalp trade, imagine this scenario. Imagine if the only trade is the scalp off VWAP and at 350 nothing happens, and then you could have just gone long over and over again, which is a distinct possibility. It doesn't have to do what Tesla did. It is obviously not as big of an deletion as Tesla. Oh, Amazon 150 just came in.
We just took some more outs. Yeah, I'm like I was saying, man. My P&L is not going to depend on this trade, but we are going to do what Neil mentioned and get out as we come up to the upside here. So I'm just now out of 20% of my position because there's the move for Uber. So we'll take it. We'll take it. I mean, those are more sells. So nice move up, just stacking it up. All good, man. I really like it. Someone said that Lyft just took a little bit of a dump maybe, or I don't know if it did or not. Nah, it's not doing anything. So again, Lyft, remember, this is just a rebalance situation. Lyft is also doing fantastic on a daily chart. I mean, they're both very, very similar. Lyft is up 60% in 2 weeks. Oh man, there's so many good short ideas. Like Lyft up 60% since November 27th.
And how much of that is probably a little bit of sympathy to Uber too?
Yeah, I mean, it's just people maybe not understanding, but we'll wait to see. Like Uber's now at all-time highs. I'm just not sure that should be necessary for that stock.
I also would never want to buy a stock which is getting a sympathy move up because something in its space is going into the index. Like that just logically doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I know there might be more coverage on those names, but it's like the money's going into the one that's going into the index. If anything, I would think there's some reasons why Lyft could sell as money that wants to be in that space. Just like, okay, well, it's just safer to be in Uber in the long run. So I don't know, like that doesn't seem like it makes a ton of sense that Lyft should be as strong as it is. But to each their own. The trade is definitely gonna be what it is. I saw Amazon 170. Technically the high of the day is 150. It's actually 150.02. So if it breaks like 03.4s, I'm out of this one. I just shorted 94s here, so I'm risking about 10 cents short into that level. It was good earlier, doesn't mean it has to be good now. As a matter of fact, Amazon, super strong today, up 1.7%. I haven't actually double checked every single one of the Mag 7, so I can't tell you if it's the best or the worst. I think it's the strongest of them all, but I could be wrong about that. I think Amazon is the strongest today, but I'm just shorting because it's 150.
So, so Solar Edge is the other one, right? So this has been much better than Uber. We're sitting here like, oh my, no, but it's like we're sitting here like, oh my God, there's 20 cents on Uber. Like, that's why I'm kind of just like laughing about this because Solar Edge, man, I mean, if you just took the short, at the same time everyone's spending all this love on Uber, Solar Edge was 97.50, it's now 95.50. So this is $2 in the money there, you know, so like this name obviously giving it up. I again feel like this is super dangerous just because of where we've come from. It's a huge move up. Enphase is a huge move up. The TAN ETF has been a huge move up. And here we go, man, they're coming out. So someone's got to come out when someone goes in, right? So it's like, that's it, S&P 501, it's S&P 500. So you got to make that move. So that's going to be something that comes in
the Big Ten.
and comes out. No, it's not like the Prem, right? You're not getting relegated down here. Is SCDG? I guess they are getting relegated. They'll go back. They'll probably go into the IWM or something.
Yeah, they'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, or the S&P 400 or something. You know, honestly, that does exist. I don't. But there it is. So Uber right now still remaining a 27 million share buy. Verizon. There. Let's just see together here what some of these names. So in about 30 seconds, 30 minutes we're closed. 30 seconds, we will have an update from Brendo on the total of all of these. But all right, so so far Verizon not really doing much. Neil's already talked a little bit about Pfizer, not really. I mean, it's sure we're trending down in an up market, so that's one thing. All right, BAC with a sell. 8 million's not a whole heck of a lot. This has done 50 today, so I'm not really seeing much happening there. Kinder Morgan? I mean, I don't. So some of these names not really doing a whole heck of a lot is what I'm trying to get at. So let's wait to see where we go. But so far here, kind of a nothing. And there it is. Brendo just gave it to us. Everything added up is still a 1.1 billion sell, despite this being 27, I mean, we could ask Siri this, 27 million shares times $60. That's being counteracted by all the other sells that are in here.
It's
so
a ton of sells.
Anyways, 1.1 billion from Brendo, excluding NASDAQ.
Well, when you look at, if you scroll down, like the number and the size of the sells on the New York names is, I don't want to say it's overwhelming, but there's a lot. Like Disney's, a couple million shares to sell. Early look on Disney. There's so many, over a million. It's too much to look at, to be honest with you. But yeah, the overall number is going to be big. It's not going to matter what Uber is. Again, it's not the biggest to ever go in. There's obviously been bigger names than that. But sometimes deletes are just easier because if you're coming out, usually like there's something fundamentally not the best with that stock or that group. I'm not going to say it's a piece of, it's just usually there's something bad going on there, and there's probably under pressure anyways. We're starting to get in. Amazon just printed like 78s, which was like this local bottom when it got to 150. So I just took some out there. We just got the early look coming out. This is signaling the time where you want to get flat. And on a rebalance day, I generally don't want to have too many positions on. Maybe a little something in Uber because you're expecting something there. But if Affirm's not going to start going, I'm just going to get out of it. Just wick the top again. If it doesn't flush in the next couple of minutes, or at least pull back into support in the next couple of minutes, then we got to get out of that one. Don't go, well, I don't want anyone to sit there looking, and if you can see the imbalances, I have, let me show you the big one. I don't want anyone to sit here looking at these, and if you have access to them, like it's going to be easy to get overwhelmed. Just remember, this is kind of normal to see all of these millions of shares all over the place. This is not abnormal on a year-end rebalance day. So there might not be ridiculous moves in all of these stocks that you see imbalances on, but there's always a chance that one or two could do something a little special. We're highlighting a couple because that's where the big index actions are supposed to be. But by no stretch of the imagination is it some kind of a guarantee that at 3:50 to 4 o'clock, Uber and SolarEdge are going to be the two biggest movers. Something that you're not expecting could come out of nowhere, and it could be the better opportunity. That's why we'll look at the imbalances in about 15 minutes and not just sit here saying it has to be those two. So I'm going to start to get out. If a firm doesn't go, I mean, whatever. If it's not going to move, I might just take this one out flat. If it's not happening, it's not happening. Amazon, not bad. DocuSign's not really doing much of anything. I thought maybe Tesla was going to make some moves this afternoon. I mean, apology for the wicks, but Tesla's range in the last hour is like, what, 30 cents? 30 pennies in there, something like that? So all kinds of nothing burger over there on Tesla. So we'll see what happens. There's no guarantees when it comes to this close. I don't think anybody out there that's traded this before is going to be surprised if we get a little bit of a nothing burger on Uber. I'm going to make sure I have SolarEdge up as well. I think they're still the two to watch. And speaking of SolarEdge, there we go, SolarEdge. It's still actually at the lows of the day. So it's red. It's at the lows of the day. It hasn't, sorry, not the lows of the afternoon. It hasn't even gone to the lows of the day, but it's still at fresh lows since that sell imbalance has come through. Those are the only two I'm going to be watching. If something new pops up, we'll be all over it. If I saw Pfizer move, I'd be interested, but it's not reacting. I don't see anything reacting to these big buys and sells.
Yeah, no, it's been a little lame, except for this one. Meta right now, 70 cents. We just took another piece out on that one. And again, as discussed, man, like this is, remember when I was taking this, and those of you, again, shout out to our midday show, all about learning, but like the most valuable lesson, we're putting shares on right now and telling you what the risk to reward was on this trade. We're gonna get stopped out for 20 cents worth of risk. So when this comes all the way back down right now, 80 cents in the money, you gotta take it 4-to-1, you know, and back into VWAP. So again, just trying to look at a strategy of support and resistance. This one's not really using moving averages other than we came back into VWAP right now, and that's where we took it out. So that's where I'm using VWAP right here. So again, make sure you can actually go back and on our videos, we have it posted up on our YouTube page. You'll see the midday show. So this week, fully loaded up. Obviously it's over now, but with all kinds of stuff, man. Like it was moving averages, trading psychology, blah, blah. Like everything was covered this week. Like entries and exits using moving averages. They talked about that and various other aspects of trading. So make sure that you do check it out with Sharif and Adara, you know, daily on Trader TV Live. There it is. Perfect. There is no market recap show today. Now we're filming the podcast.
It's because of the podcast.
So the podcast will be there. It'll be up tomorrow. It'll be Neil and Brendo this time. So
9:30.
Yeah, me and Brendo last week. Tomorrow 9:30 tomorrow morning. Get that on your favorite podcasting platform.
Yes, yeah. I was searching for the word myself, Jeff.
I know, I follow it. And thank you so much, Pranaya there messaged, and he put a 5-star on our last podcast and some comments as well. So thank you so much for that one. If you guys can all put comments and rate them and everything, and let us know what you think. What's up, Nunya Biz? Just got rocket.
Suggestions too. Like if you're like, hey, it would be nice if you covered this on the pod. Would it be, you know, talk about this or that? We're down for that as well. Of course, we have some. You know, we're going to go in there having some topics planned out, no questions about it. But if you guys want us to cover something, always willing to do that for you guys. And when we talk about key levels, so it's 336. The 150 level, I'll be straight up with you. Like I know Uber is a bit of a thing, but if I see a triple top on Amazon and it's a sell imbalance and it's at 150, I probably would scalp short 150. You know what I mean? Like there's other things to trade as well going into this at the close. So, I mean, I'll have my eyeballs on this as well. It's still holding that 150 level. It looks like it's a good level. We'll see. A lot can change in the next 15 minutes, but if for some reason there's a sell imbalance at that price, then I'm gonna be for it on Amazon. I'll leave that one up. I have multiple level too, so we'll be able to do that. No questions asked for Amazon. And looks like DocuSign can't hold on to VWAP. So simple strategy for Docu. It did set up for, look, it's probably set up for a 65 short. I gave you the reasons why. Normally that's a short to VWAP for me, but I'm not doing it because I didn't want to, in case it halted on news, I didn't want it. I wanted the long above to hold under the recent support at that 62 level. So looking for that move in 62.5, looking for a break in 63 and a 64. So I'm shooting for a move into the high of the day, which would give you a buck and change maybe, and then risk about 50 pennies into that one on DocuSign. And I like that setup when there's a, it's not that there's a buy-up, but when there's deal speculation, I like the bid that it can put on a stock and give you that opportunity. Now, obviously, the first bounce would have been like a muted one. You could have got like 30, 40 cents out of it. But I'm looking for the retest of the high of the day. The same way I do a pullback trade into VWAP. If I'm doing a bounce play in this case, I wanted to get back into VWAP as well. What else we got going on? There's really nothing happening on this Uber. Like it's trying to get back off VWAP here again. Might just wait until something happens. Like either we get 350 or I see this number change on Uber, which hasn't really done much of anything. You're not seeing a big imbalance. Unless I see it change, I won't do anything anymore on Uber. If it gets to the high, I've already taken some out. Nicola will get out momentarily. I said I'd get out of Affirm because it wasn't doing anything. So it was probably the right call to go ahead and do that. Just took it all out at the local bottom. It's like, look, the stock's not moving, man. Like, 43.80 to 43.60 on a stock with a $2.50 range on the day, almost a $3 range. Like that's what's happening this afternoon. So I'm just going to get out of it. We'll be ready for Uber if and when something happens in SolarEdge as well. Let's go to the desk and handle some business.
Brought to you by IG.com. Trade Forex pairs like Euro USD with spreads as low as 0.8 pips and zero commissions at IG. Terms and conditions apply.
Oh, yeah.
We were just saying, like, I don't know why we didn't have both Solar Edge and Uber, like,
Delete.
and I was like, as a hedge, but it's not a hedge. We're not hedging anything.
Well, it's just there's two
It's
things
one
to
could,
look at.
Yeah, it's like one. They could both come out wrong, and then you'd have a negative hedge. Okay, we have 10% left on Meta, man. And when we got VWAP, that was our target initially. So when that came down there, we just took it out. So this is what scalping's all about. We've changed our stop, breaking through 336. We're gonzos, man. So this is going to, again, Meta now, just on some of these trades, it's going to be Roblox #1 net-wise today, Intel #2, Meta #3. So, and Meta, again, we had some nice win right there, long off the same level, basically, down here, 336, right? And then now we're going short off that level, and we've cashed in a couple times back and forth right there. So far, so good here, man, as we are just really enjoying what's been a good day so far here today. We're going to have the best week in a while. All right, Charlie, what's up, Charlie? Last week, me and Charlie got to go back and forth here because last week you asked me about Josh Dobbs versus Russell Wilson, and I basically laughed at that and said, Josh Dobbs is not even startable. You still started him.
Why?
So, exactly. So, all right. Justin Fields or Dak Prescott? It's Dak Prescott all day long.
Not even.
And the reason why, and it's obviously right. So the reason why, Sharif, is because I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. So
exactly.
Pollard hasn't been very good. I mean, he's good, but Dak is leading the way. And I've already said, Charlie, that I think it's Dak and Josh Allen are the two quarterbacks for MVP, and they know that.
Bills D has a lot of injuries.
The media knows that.
A lot of injuries.
So I think that today, the move, and you see what happens. You know what I would do also is check the weather in both of those games. Because Denver, I believe, is where Chicago.
Is this DFS or is he in like in a?
I have no idea. To me, I don't know. I think it's. I don't know, because last week he was asking me about Dobbs or Russell Wilson, so maybe it's DFS.
If it's DFS, I can see your arguments as to why you. If you're talking.
No, he's starting this week. He's talking about.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter DFS or not, right?
Well,
this week, 1 week.
But the salaries matter for DFS. That's the only thing I'm getting.
Well, we don't know.
Like if you're trying to be cute and maybe try to play Fields for less money, then it depends on the rest of the lineup you're trying to say. But if you're just straight up talking about who to start in fantasy, I'm a Bills fan and I would tell you to start Dak. But because I think he's going to be chasing points in Buffalo.
Yeah, or at least, so what I was getting at there was also weather, Charlie. So make sure that if the weather is poor, which is not supposed to be, like I said, it's 10 degrees Celsius right now. So like 50 Fahrenheit or something, probably not that high right now. So
10 degrees is exactly 50 Fahrenheit.
Oh, is it?
It's times 1.8 plus 32.
Campus read?
Oh.
All right. Now.
Did you say that before?
We didn't do it yet today, but we can do it if you want. All right, so what's up to D-Loaf? I was actually talking with Lars about D-Loaf. So D-Loaf is also in the campus program. He was messaging us a couple times yesterday. He's in the 3rd stage. I'm not going to lie. I have no idea what that means, but congratulations. I hope there's only 3 stages.
Well, no, it's on this, I'm assuming.
No, but I don't think he means this. I mean, if he means 3rd phase, I think everyone gets here, to be honest with you. I mean, so congratulations. But the ultimate goal is to go live. So this is what campus is all about. And by the way, like I said, talking to Lars, if you're in Canada and you don't hit this apply now, right now, you may miss it. So I think you should hit apply now when you want to. You have to be in Canada. It's all about learning, man. It's our platform. You can learn how to edit those wicks and everything on the charts. Comes in phase 1, phase 2. Here's the platform. Learn all about market on close orders. Learn about all of the benefits that we have, including those market on open, market on close. We have over 60 live markets, including these markets also. Not all of them, many of them available in training mode. So again, man, you can trade almost 24 hours a day, including futures markets, right? So anyways, do it. It's campus.daytradetheworld.com. As you can see right here, I know Bears vs. Bulls has it. You could probably hashtag something in the chat. And then right here, accepting applications only until the new year. So if you're debating it, apply now and decide later. Like that's what I would do. Like apply now, get the details, decide about it later. It's campus. Swift.daytradetheworld.com. Almost said Swift there because
Now?
thing is, I know that you have Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce? Whoa.
No, I'm talking about Taylor Swift. Like,
Oh, don't.
will she be in Buffalo?
Okay, you realize, of course, when you just said, I know you have Travis Kelce, my first thought was, tell me he didn't just get hurt.
Oh, no, I don't think he got
It's
hurt.
the fantasy playoffs, man. You can't just be spooking people. like that.
Yeah.
You know how it rolls in fantasy playoffs.
All right, I can take this over. All right, so Uber right now is falling down a little bit. We will look at this. So 11 million shares right now to buy. If you come to my screen, I can talk about this. 11 million, but look at the pair. We are expecting 150. That's 150, sorry, we're expecting 200 million. But remember my strategy, I'm already, I'm off this trade very, very soon.
What?
If we break below, where's my stop? I said 50s, so this bottom is 60s. So if we break below 50s, then we're gone. We just scalped out a little bit, and the day that we're having is mucho good, and I'm not gonna do anything. Like we are X anybody else. So, it's been a very, very good day here, needless to say. So let's just keep on going with that one. As Uber, Roblox. Oh, Roblox. We could talk about Roblox right now. Short. It's busting through VWAP. I'm trying to hold some of these just in case. But remember, both Neil and I, Neil, look, there we go. He used to have a bunch of positions. I was going to say, I don't know if he still has them, but I can see on the screen. We're both only in stocks that we've either had for a while and we're just waiting to get out of them, or we've just dumped them ahead of 350. That imbalance, I've never seen Brendan give us a 1 billion note. I've never seen him give us that note at 330. A billion? Maybe he has before, but that's going to be something there. Someone just said, oh, what's up, Rainmaker? You're hanging out with Dua Lipa this weekend? That's very, very, very good for that. Ponzi Fonzie says, let's get that cat thing going. So there it is.
Like and subscribe today.
If you don't like and subscribe today, well, then do it tomorrow. But
No,
you should.
Don't wait for tomorrow.
I wouldn't wait for tomorrow.
Like and subscribe today.
What happened?
It's not. I'm telling you, I don't have the right thing for it, Fabian. I need the number.
There it is. There it is.
subscribe button. I actually on
Is it
purpose,
the same shirt?
No, on purpose I wore this shirt today, but then I don't have it on my board still. I need the number to be able to
Yeah, put the number in the chat.
Just give it to me.
Oh, but Sharif just mentioned something to me.
What? Oh yeah. Oh my God, my bad. I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button. Hey, Sharif, man.
Sharif, man. The reason is that he knows it's in his contract, and if we don't play it, then he doesn't get his bonus. He's like Dak trying to throw for minus pick. Like last year, Dak had like 20 picks or something. This year, 3 or something like that. He's doing really good.
He's got more than 3 picks this year.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, let's put it this way.
How many picks
He
is
might
that?
have 3 picks on Sunday. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think he only has 3 or 4, man.
He might get picked off on Sunday.
I think he will. I think it's going to be a great game. I don't know. I mean,
I'm not sure
the
it's
spread, I think, is 2 or
It's
something.
gonna be a great game for me.
I don't know.
It's
going to be a great game for
It's
Love.
gonna be a great game for me.
It's just going to be a great game in general. But here comes Uber. So I thought I was buying more. I am. I'm buying more at 67 for some reason. Oh, that's that bottom right there. Okay, so we go.
Like 60.
I'm just waiting for it. Doesn't. Yeah. Regardless,
It doesn't matter.
I feel like we'll get it. We're just going to buy a couple more here. Like, I'm just going to trade this with maybe a couple hundred shares. I'm not going to the grave with this thing. Like I said, we are having a very.
You can't really go to the grave with it.
No. But I mean, I just mean my net. I don't want to lose everything. We're already well cooking today, and the lights are flashing over there. It's because it's a club over there, Brancos. Let's go, man. Get that dancing going. Oh, you can see there it is. Dun, 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 dun. So there it is right there. Yes, sir.
There's always something going on.
But that's it, man. So what's up to Elon there? Oh yeah, quad witching. It just expiries. So there's 4 different instruments: single stock futures. I have no idea what else, but there's a bunch of them. They're all stock or futures related. So they're all coming to expire, but that's not the thing. That happens all the time, right? Weekly stocks are expiring, options are expiring. Everything's expiring all the time. Today is more important because it's year end. It is S&P 500 year-end rebalancing.
That's the story.
So that's the story now, which is why we're expecting a bunch to come on. Every month, monthly options expire. So that's not it. This is the biggest day. Ever since I was a wee one coming here to trade 20 plus years ago, this was always something that us proprietary traders looked at. So it's a great liquidity event.
I would say more profitable back in the day than now.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like now there's more information there, so there's more ARBs and there's more. It's just easier to gain.
The first time I traded a close here.
Here we go, by the way.
It's about 20 seconds, but I remember the first time we didn't even have like this is the up weight, this is the down weight. We literally had a spreadsheet where we were guessing at what a lot of the weight changes were going to be and what we anticipated was going to move instead of kind of knowing everything in advance. We didn't even have the best research. We were still able to make money, but now everybody has everything. Like there's no surprises as to what you're expecting. But we're going to see what happens in about 3 seconds when
I feel like I'm just going to get flattened.
It's a very good possibility.
I think I'm going to get flattened immediately. Okay, well, now we're in it, so let's wait to see what happens here as Uber. We just got long again.
10 million to buy.
10 million to buy, so again, relatively light on the buy side of things. And you can see here it comes, just coming right back in. We will get stopped out on a breakthrough 50, and that is completely fine. You see what I mean? It's going the other way right now. So there goes Uber. It's so funny that I said, like, most likely this doesn't work, but it still could work, but definitely not working here into the close right now. So we'll wait to see if Uber can get going. Again, a lot of this is sell the news. So here's the news. Microsoft, look at that. See, when you're unexpected, as Neil mentioned, unexpected take there. Nice move up as Uber right now at 50, and we are squanchy, squanch, squanch, squanch.
And guess what? One upside. So Uber just went down. I got stopped out. I had my stop like a couple of cents underneath 50 just to give it a couple pennies in case 50 held, but it didn't matter. Went to 40. SolarEdge goes the other way. So SolarEdge goes up and Uber goes down. Remember, it's not a guarantee these things have to go in that direction. However, it might provide an opportunity at 355 and things, generally speaking, will pair off on the New York. Sometimes it happens on the NASDAQ too. You can look for a bit of a reversal play. So I'll have my eyeballs on these two names, right? Like SolarEdge is coming out of the S&P 500. You've got Uber going in, which came to the downside. And remember, it's like, well, if the best trade was actually just going long off VWAP, that was a possibility. But after what I saw, I forget how many years ago actually Tesla was, the S&P 500. Doesn't really matter. When Tesla went in, the equivalent was it broke support, and if you just went long the entire way down, yes, it would have worked, but it was a gigantic move down. It would be the equivalent of Uber falling all the way down to 6150. There's no chance I would make that play. If I see it go all the way down in here in 6150 and there's a time for a bounce play, fair enough. That's a totally different story. But I'm going to keep my eye on that imbalance. I want to see it growing or doing something big, but it's just SolarEdge and Uber that I have the eyeballs on, at least for now. I mean, like you said, Microsoft, it's things coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, look at the NASDAQ ripping to highs right now and taking everybody's lunch, 5.8 billion. So it's a little bit less than I thought it would be. Honestly, I thought it'd be a little bit greater. We had a bigger number, I think, in September, because I remember 7.6 coming from Brendan at one point. I'm pretty good with those numbers. So definitely 7 something. I'm going to say 7.6. So this only being 5.8 is a little disappointing. Amazon was quite a nice buy, man. Still left over 5 million. So this is paired value. That's already what's been accounted for. So if someone puts in 100 million to buy and then someone puts in 100 million to sell on close, well, then you'll get 0, right? So that's what you're looking at. So some of these orders are already accounted for because we can't see the real-time orders going in, but that's why we have this little widget built here at Day Trade the World for this. So anyways, there's Amazon. Google, see a sell. So look, watch this. I'm assuming this is the other way. Yeah, so downside on the sell imbalance that came through, right? I'll just zoom this out so everybody can see. There might be names on here that you're interested in that I can try to show you, but I'm not going to zoom all the way down. Like, honestly, millions of shares are going to be here. Like, there's Mara with a buy. There's Lucid with a sell. Microsoft, to me, is the most interesting. Up to 372 and then faded out. I think that was the high of the day. Yes, it was. So again, sometimes levels are going to come into play, right? I'm just glad that we got out of Uber. Like I said, being green today is a privilege, and we're going to keep green. So so far so good. And look, this Uber could have been disastrous. We're out. It just went to 62.20. Potentially a buy at some point, but right now I don't even see it on here.
No, I just went and scanned it even further, and I'm not seeing it.
We'll keep that down.
I have a different one which is like smaller, and I can see more names.
Yeah.
And I'm not even seeing it. I'm actually gonna sort it alphabetically. Actually, the other way you can do it is sort by paired volume. What am I doing? Because it should be the largest paired volume altogether. There you go. So 165 million paired. It's a buy imbalance of 700,000 shares currently on Uber. The number 2 name for paired interest at the close is Lucid, but in terms of actual notional value, Apple 31 million paired off on a 3 million sell imbalance for Apple. And then Lucid was a sell imbalance, by the way. So Lucid is 4 million to sell with 55 million paired. So big one there for Lucid, which they're coming out of something as well.
Guys, remember, like someone just said, I'm never listening to imbalances again because it was a sell. So at 3:30, it was a sell. Remember, this is the NASDAQ. I mean, the ES is going as well, but a lot of these names on here are NASDAQ names that we've already talked about, right? So, and again, those aren't public until they are at 350. So that's where you're going to get that discrepancy, right? And so that's what that is. As we continue to go, all right, 355. Normally you get a little bit of a reversal.
It's a sell imbalance now, 4 million.
Yeah. Uber. Oh, Uber's a sell.
Oh my
Apple
God.
paired a bunch. Amazon paired a bunch.
We had mentioned that was most likely going to turn out to be a sell, but we'll wait to see what happens at the open.
Pfizer flipped to a bid.
Yep. So everything right now is flippy flip.
Lucid stayed a sell.
Okay, Lucid did okay. And I was just going to look at Amazon. Remember, Amazon was a big buy. There it is at 150.50. A complete reversal again. This is why, like, I don't know, man. You know, we'll have to wait to see if there's any easy money to be made right now. But for right here, it looks like the imbalances are going to be what they are. I think you're right. It's Lucid that's falling off a cliff right now into the sell.
The only thing that actually gave
So that's actually staying a sell.
I don't see Intel on.
Good job on Intel. Yeah, Steve G.
Intel's 400,000.
Where I was long.
21 million sell imbalance, 400,000. There's not really an imbalance on Intel. You check any other names you want, but I'm not really seeing anything terribly exciting here. Uber just now flipped back to a buy of 2 million. So it's starting to show signs. Of coming to the upside there. So it might be worth it. Like if you were trading any of these, Lucid as a sell was probably your best bet, because it's stayed weak the entire time. I'm gonna go right back over now that you're about 1.7 million to buy an Uber. It's gonna be pretty tiny. That's not significant at all. It would have to jump into the 10 million range late to want to make a trade there.
All right, I was just looking to see if anybody had any comments or questions or concerns, and you don't, so that's great. All right, only 3 minutes to go right now. We're just going to continue to watch it. You know what? Let's just go back over to Uber. I did just see some size on the bid there, so we can. We could get a little excited if we see something that shows up there on Uber. I'm still going to keep my eyes on both screens here as we try to watch out for this, as nervous moments, I'm sure, behind us, as there's lots of trades that are going to line up. There's a lot of traders that have spent time on research and things like that, trying to make sure that, they have the right look at Uber, man. I just feel good about at least mentioning to everybody that this trade is probably going to be a POS. So, I mean, there it is, right down to the downside. Wait to see. Wait. It's not that it's over yet, guys. It's not that it's over yet, but here is the flushy down to the downside. I guess waiting to sell some of my Uber shares may have been a mistake. But there it is all the way to the downside as bye-bye Uber. Ciao, nice to see you later. And let me guess, SEDG going the other way? Let's have a quick look at that one.
It's going up when I
And there it is. Surprise, surprise. Sign up another one for the bad guy there. We should have gone long and short one more time, but bye-bye Uber. Unless it shows up as a monster bid right now.
It just went to 2.5.
Yeah, I'm probably thinking that's over. Good, nice try, New York. You're just going to get eaten up right there. So we'll wait to see if that 150,000 stands to last, but it will not. So bye-bye Uber. I hope you guys at least shorted there, or hopefully we're not foolish enough to hold on to that long, because that was a great out. And Uber, we're going to be red on two names today, Amazon and Uber now. So there goes Uber. We tried it. I hate losing money like that, but it is what it is. Let me just get out of Roblox. I thought Roblox could have had a chance to go down if it was a sell, but I don't even know where it is, and it's not moving. So let's clean out of Uber, as we only have a minute and a bit left.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Roblox,
there's some buyers showing up. I just saw Uber go back to 2 million. I'm gonna take a baby position in there, get something on board, kind of off those lows. It didn't end up breaking the low of the day on Uber, and I'll probably just hold it out for the auction. see what it can do there. It holds 61.5, right? So that's not a bad look for Uber. We've about a minute to go there. Solar Edge is the other one. I don't know, did you pull up what happened to Solar Edge?
I was just looking at it ripped up.
Yeah,
I mean, it might fade right now.
It essentially continued to go higher. This actually is that's not a bad play on Solar Edge because you're getting it short off of resistance if you wanted to play that. I just went for Uber off the bottom. And again, we'll just see where it prints. It held the pre-market lows. Sorry, not the pre-market lows. It held the open lows there and was able to bottom right at 70. There was size buying 75, 72, like all that good stuff. Now it's starting to fly. I'm just taking the auction print wherever the heck it ends up.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Is it a bid still?
Here.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a sell.
It's a sell.
Yeah,
I mean, who knows where it's going to end up printing at the end of the day.
Valid.
As I said, relative to imbalanced trades that I've taken before, I'm using about 5% of what I've done at closes. So, I mean, this is not set up the way that you want to go ham. But its countdown is on. It's already 4 o'clock. ADR is on the bell in 4, 3, 2, and ring it.
All right.
It is closed.
Yeah, nothing. I don't think we had a print yet on Uber, so we will wait for that one. Man, so far so good. Lots of stuff happening here today. So there's Lucid. Lucid turns out to be a buy, actually.
Well, Solar Edge printed because it's NASDAQ.
At the end, yeah. I was going to say, where did Lucid... Oh, there's Lucid, 3 points. No, that's a D print. So yeah, so they're all done already. So Lucid did not really go up too much right there. We will wait for an Uber print to come out. Right now, 61.62 right now for Uber. So yeah, good on you, man. Good on everybody. I want to say a big thank you. There it is. Where did it print?
Yeah, like 86.
Oh, 86s? Yeah, 86s. So yeah,
like 50.
Yeah, so nothing there on Uber. Look, man. Something there. So again, remember where that price?
Well, yeah, but keep in mind here, like a couple of things.
There's lots of opportunities.
Like you could have covered before the closing print. It was a 30-cent move if you covered at the close, right? So I actually gave back 15 cents of upside by holding it for the closing auction. So it ends up being a little bit of a bounce play. You had to wait for the size at the bottom and be patient for it. Solar Edge, by the way, was about a flat print. So if you shorted that one, you didn't lose on it, but you didn't make a big win. Just remember, there's no aftermarket show. I'm gonna get up, get ready to film the pod. That's dropping at 9:30 tomorrow morning. So I'll let Sean take us out of here. But before I let Sean take over, I just want to remind everybody to say a quick prayer for Sharif's Dallas Cowboys for Sunday.
All right. Yeah, I think it's going to be an absolutely fantastic game. There's no rush to get over there because we don't have to film immediately. Yeah, okay. Yeah, congratulations. We had some good trades there in the back, and I lost first place there, but congratulations to all the rest of the guys. Big trades. Congratulations, guys, in the back. And again, that's what it's all about. Look at this Uber, man. Just to have gone short. I know Neil had a great imbalance trade there as well. And then I just wanted to see what Apple did. Again, a flush down for Apple. So look at that move back in there into the close. Again, such a fantastic day, such a fantastic week. I just want everybody to enjoy your weekend. I mean, no matter how you traded, no matter what happened, there's always going to be next week, man. I'm going to be off on Monday, but I'll be back next week. There's news on Apple. Okay. Thanks, Ramin, for that. So Apple now looks like it was. I don't know what the news is. That's why. But all right, Apple making a little bit of a move down. Oh, it's something about iPhones in China. So if it's by Bloomberg, you buy this immediately on the way down here. But anyways, Apple falling down a bit. BTC ending the day at 42.2. Yeah, good job. Oh, Mr. Westermeyer did not. What was your super chat? Oh, no, Bears versus Bulls. Just put in whatever you typed in right now, Mr. Westermeyer. Here it is right here. And I will address that super chat. I know you're in town. On Monday. I will do my best to try to come into that, but I do sort of have plans on Monday. So I do, I do appreciate you're going out to dinner with some of these guys. So that's going to be great. I'm hearing something about Apple in my ear a little bit here as we go. China's iPhone ban accelerates across the government and different firms across China. So not good for iPhone for sure. Cow GIF, sure. Coming through. Oh no, did I miss it, Wistermeyer? Dinner on you Monday evening. Yeah, no, I know. So thank you so much for that. We'll see if we can make that happen. So, Mr. Westermeyer, thank you so much for the invite, and I hope to be able to make that. It's a kind of a big hockey weekend and everything, so I'm going to see if we do play over Monday, but if I'm in town, we will try to be there. So, okay, man, thank you so much. This is going to be a great one. So make sure you do check the podcast tomorrow in the morning. So, and again, look at Apple, nice downside move. I just want to quickly look at FXI here. China ban on iPhones, not that that's what's happening, but that's sort of the story here, and it's just accelerating. They already do have a ban on some agencies and whatnot across China, but FXI, nice move down. All right, thank you so much. It's been a while since I've closed the show, and I'm doing it now. Thank you to Ramin, Fabian, thank you to Adara, thank you to Kat behind us, Brendo, Neil, the whole team. Thanks to Randy. I want to thank Frank Caberna for coming through again today. Thank you to Bears versus Bulls, man. Thank you so much for that, and most importantly, thank you to all the viewers, because without you guys, we wouldn't be here. All right, we're going to fade to black. It's been a good one. I will see everybody next week. Ciao.